The Philadelphia 76ers were doing great at the start of this season. A 10-3 start to the season, Joel Embiid is looking even more dominant than before, and Tyrese Maxey drops a career-high 50 points, and everything is evolving into a cornerstone for this team. This was looking like the year that the 76ers could finally get over that hump and win the championship. But the final week of January is what ultimately destroyed the 76ers season. So what went wrong? Were they able to make a comeback? This is the truth behind the most disappointing team this season. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss any NBA content. First off, the 76ers were owning the start of the season with a 29-13 record and almost grabbing that second seed position in the Eastern Conference. But then, Joel Embiid went down with a torn lateral meniscus in a game against the Warriors at the end of January this year. This loss was the fourth one in a row for the 76ers. Before that, he'd already been sidelined for a few games with another injury. Now, without their best player, the 76ers hit a serious rough patch. They struggled big time, managing just an 11-22 record while Joel was out. That's like going from flying high to barely hanging on. And as if that wasn't enough, they slipped down to the 8th seed in the conference standings. It's been messy for Philly fans. They were missing some of their key players. Last season, Embiid was on fire, securing the MVP title with numbers that were off the charts, including an average of 35 points a game. He dazzled us with a 48-pointer against the Wizards in November and followed it up with a 50-point explosion in December. Then he joined the legends Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron James by scoring 30 or more points in 20 consecutive games. But the highs came to an abrupt halt on January 30th, 2024. Since his injury, Embiid wasn't able to play, and the new rule meant he couldn't defend his MVP title since a player now needs to play at least 65 games to be in the running. The Sixers have definitely felt the absence of their star player. Looking at the numbers, the 76ers' performance with and without Embiid is night and day. With him, they won 26 out of 33 games. Without him, just 7 wins in 23 games. Before the injury, they were third in the Eastern Conference. After, they slipped to 5th. It's not just Embiid, though. Injuries have really messed with the Philly 76ers in the last few years. Just when things start clicking, someone important gets hurt. Remember how Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Josh Richardson all faced injuries in the 2019-2020 season? That threw off their whole vibe and hurt their playoff run. Recently, both Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris were also out with injuries. Of course, the team tried to bring in the pros to fix the situation through the trades. But did the new trades fix anything? Let's take a look at Buddy and Kelly's impact on this season. The 76ers had their eyes on Buddy Hield and Kelly Oubre Jr. for quite some time. These guys are known for their sharpshooting, which is exactly what Joel Embiid needs to help him shine even brighter. Hield in particular is a bit of a three-point expert, much like JJ Redick was when he played for Philly. But let's be real. Even though Hield and Oubre bring a lot to the table, they're not star players. Part of the reason they were brought on board was to help the team cope without Embiid when he was out injured. They've definitely had their moments where they've lit up the scoreboard, but their arrival alone hasn't improved things for the Sixers. Take that game against the Boston Celtics back in February. Hield kicked things off with a bang, sinking a couple of threes right out of the gates. But then, things went downhill and he missed his next 6 shots. It just goes to show, basketball's a team sport, and it takes more than a couple of sharpshooters to turn things around. Oubre didn't fare much better, shooting just 1 for 6 from the field. Coach Nick Nurse acknowledged the need for patience and better shot selection, especially in generating drive and kick opportunities for Hield and Oubre. It's a team effort, with players like Tyrese Maxey needing to identify when to collapse the defense and kick out to the shooters. Maxey himself remains confident in his teammates' abilities, knowing that given the right opportunities, Hield and Oubre can light it up from beyond the arc. But truth be told, even with Hield and Oubre on the team, the Sixers were still struggling with the aftermath of Embiid's injury. They need more than just sharpshooters. They need ball handlers and size to complement their lineup and give them a fighting chance to climb out of the hole. So, while Hield and Oubre might have been brought in with high hopes, the harsh truth was that they alone weren't enough to save the team this season. It would take a collective effort from the stars to the role players to turn things around for the Sixers. And as they look ahead to the remaining season, they need to dig deep and find a way to bounce back stronger than ever. Moving on, it would be rude not to acknowledge the one person that's been holding everything together, Coach Nick Nurse. This coach is a big reason why the team hasn't fallen apart already. He's not just a coach, he's practically a basketball expert, turning setbacks into setups for success. Take Paul Reed, for instance. One minute he's warming the bench, the next he's dominating the court, all thanks to Nurse's keen eye for talent and a knack for shaking up lineups. And let's talk about Kelly Oubre Jr.'s comeback game. Nurse doesn't just throw him into the mix, he strategically positions him to make a game-changing impact off the bench. Suddenly, the Sixers' depth chart looks like a well-oiled machine with Nurse pulling all the right strings. Sure, Kyle Lowry might have had a rough shooting night, but his leadership and court vision? Priceless. And Tyrese Maxey? The kid's got lightning in his veins, and Nurse knew exactly how to unleash it. With Nurse at the helm, every player knows their role and plays it to perfection. But it's not just about individual performances, it's about the collective effort. Nurse isn't afraid to mix things up, moving Nicholas Batum to the bench to unlock new lineup combinations. Suddenly, the Sixers are firing on all cylinders, with Nurse orchestrating the symphony. Now, with a string of winnable games on the horizon, the Sixers are back in the hunt, and it's all thanks to Nurse's strategic brilliance. He's not just coaching a team, he's sculpting a masterpiece, one lineup change at a time. And if they can keep this momentum consistent now that Embiid is back, well, let's just say the rest of the league better watch out, because the Sixers are on a collision course with success, all thanks to the coaching skills of Nick Nurse. Now, the Philadelphia 76ers are on fire with 3 consecutive wins thanks to Joel Embiid's return. With him, they've secured 2 wins, even breaking the Heat's win streak, and are eyeing the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. Maxey shined with 37 points against Miami, while Embiid, back from a 2-month hiatus, added 29 points to the mix. The Sixers, even in Embiid's absence, kept their competitive spirit under Nick Nurse. Now, with Embiid potentially returning to MVP form as the season closes, the Sixers are looking to climb from the 8th to possibly the 6th seed. With their strengthened team, they're ready to challenge any top seed, especially the Bucks and Cavaliers, while Boston might prove a tougher match. With Embiid at his best and the team in sync, the Sixers are a playoff threat. Right now, they're in a good spot, but they're really hoping to avoid the play-in tournament by grabbing the 6th seed. To get there, they need to do better than the Pacers in their last few games. If they have to go through the play-in, they're looking to at least secure the 7th seed for a home court advantage. Their final games are super important for their playoff position. Still, it's undeniable that the domino effect of injuries has been a big obstacle for the 76ers this NBA season, keeping them from reaching their peak and seriously chasing championships. They've got to figure out a way to keep their key players healthy if they want to go all the way. But what do you think? Were the 76ers one of the most disappointing teams due to their high expectations? Let us know in the comments below, and until then, check out these 2 videos.